Good morning, everyone. So if you're watching this video, we are now just starting week 10 of our menu and facility design course. You will have completed the last two in-class design assignments. This week we'll introduce you to your final design assignment that we're going to have. And I hope you are really enjoying this course as much as I am teaching it. And in the future, I hope that we can do this more in person. So just briefly to go over where we left off. So last week we talked more about the front of house design as well as the flow of customers, goods, and also employees. And then we also went through the senses and how each particular sense really affects how we perceive a restaurant or a concept. And this goes more or beyond just restaurants, but also into retail spaces, hotels, even your own home. We looked at color schemes and branding packages, and we had the example of Georgian College using the 3 or 4 different color schemes as well as different fonts, which is the expectation for your assignment. And we went through some information about lighting and some basic design of storage and locker rooms and server stands and the things that are covered outside of the kitchen. So today, we're going to go through more so what is the back of house design, what are those individual spaces, and the idea is that after the end of this class you will be able to design a kitchen space, while maybe not perfect, very workable, and being able to support a restaurant operation. These are just a couple of the ones that you guys have created for me. Some of you put washrooms in here which were not needed, but I understand that you just wanted to fill the space. And, these are some of the nicer ones and I've done a really good job, as well as adding waiting areas. Again, you can see some of the seating different options that you've given here, which is what I'm looking for. So not only do you have just stools around the bar or just booths, but you have kind of a mix-up of all these different types of seating. So if a 2-top, a 4-top, a 6-top, an 8-top comes in, you know where to put them. So good job on those assignments. First, what we want to talk about is space analysis. And in terms of space analysis, I mean by how do we look at the back house area and how do we break it down by spaces. So in class, we would match the following functions, functional areas with these numbers down below, but I'll just go through them. So the very first space in the back of house, and usually what happens when you walk into the back door, is the receiving area. And this is a place for you to receive all your goods, as well as is typically your staff entrance and exit. It takes up about 5% of that space. Storage, which is including your fridge, freezers, and dry storage, will take up about 15%, and they're typically closely related or located, I should say, by the back door and the receiving areas as well. Your office only takes up about 3%, and while it is an important space for you as a manager, generally the restaurant operations, it has very little impact. Pre-preparation area is 14%, and the reason I brought up the hot food preparation area as 8%, I wanted to show you the difference. As the hot line, where heat is added to the meal for the very last time, is usually a quite compact area, whereas in the pre-preparation, so this is where you may be chopping all your vegetables or butchering your meat, or generally just any activity that needs to be done before you add heat to it, needs more room. And we'll go through a couple layouts to kind of break down how you may create that. You may have a bakery option. You may also have what we call the cold line, so that's typically soup or salads and maybe some cold appetizers and desserts. So when I say bakery, it also is that cold line, which is about 5%. The employee locker room and toilet should take up about 15% of that back of house area, where most restaurants probably fall short in that. And this is going to be a huge factor in maintaining a good and healthy staff. Making sure that they're happy in the workplace, that they have a respectful amount of space, and it's something that you should look at when you do your design. Service area. So a service area is usually what's located by the hot food line, and it's the last part of the back of house design before you enter into the front of house into the dining room. So this is where servers can congregate into the back of the house, where they might be getting all of their drinks, coffee, tea, other storage items such as cutlery or napkins or whatever it might be, as well as picking up hot food ready to run it back out to the dining room. And this is probably about 10% of that space. And then warewashing, which is your dishwashing area, is about another 10% as well. What's an interesting thing is the traffic aisles take up 15%, which, other than the storage and employee locker rooms, that is the largest individual space. So it's funny when you think about storage, traffic aisles, and employee locker rooms and toilets. Those three areas don't actually do anything. They're supportive areas. They're people moving areas or product location areas or just employee relaxing areas. So it's interesting that almost 50% of your back of house will be just that. And I'll explain why. So again, we have seen this. This is kind of the breakdown of the back of house and front of house and the way that most people and product move throughout the restaurant. Again, you'll see it's going through the back door to receiving, then to storage, dry or cold, through your pre-preparation and final preparation areas, service, which is that service area before it goes out to the dining room. After the customers finish, it goes to the warewashing, cleans, and also goes to waste disposal, and then back out the back door. So that's a great hint as far as when I create my floor plan, what kind of plan should it follow. So where do you start? It's actually quite difficult. How do you start designing a kitchen? So some of the questions you might ask is, what is my space limitation? What is my menu? Am I having a new menu, or is it a pre-existing menu like a franchise? If it is a franchise and you already have a menu that's set, they will inform you how their other kitchens may be set up, and you can maybe add to that one. How do you expect to grow? So are you starting out small, but with the expectation that as you get busier, you might need to add more pieces of equipment in? If that's the case, then you might want to leave a little bit of room on your hotline, in your prep areas. And then also, what is your budget? Now, the reason I say budget, in this picture that you're looking at here, these are what we call hood vents. Now, hood vents are essentially, have to be located over everything that has an open flame or hot oil. And most ovens, all of your stovetops, all deep fryers, all grills need to be located under these. Now, the thing about these particular things is that they are very expensive. Typically between $1,200 and $1,500 a foot, sorry. And if I'm looking at this is about 8 feet. This is at least $12,000 to install. It's one of the most expensive items in a restaurant. So ensuring that you put that in the right place, and ensuring that you make it big enough for growth but small enough to maintain as low as cost as possible is kind of what will make or break your particular restaurant concept. Okay, so we'll start in the back. So the first area is your receiving area. A couple things that you should know about it. You should have enough space for hand trucks. Most trucks that come in, they will load up a dolly and bring it to the back door. If you have a very large restaurant, you might actually want the large lift-up doors and exterior doors. But for the majority of what we will be talking about, a regular man door is fine. 8 feet by 8 feet seems to be a really great space, and that just allows you to weigh items, to read your receipts, make sure that you have been delivered all of the stuff that you've ordered, and just to check the quality of the food. Storage areas and fridges. Now, we spoke about this last week as well. So it's kind of a review of that. So as far as fridges and freezers and storage areas go, they have a very identical blueprint for the most part, depending on size. As far as your design goes, your fridge, your freezer, and your dry storage will probably take up similar spaces and have a similar design function, like the one I'm looking here on the right-hand side, or some of these up here. Another thing that you also have to keep in mind is that cleaning supplies, they shouldn't be located with food, although they should be located in a dry safe area. So there is an area in your restaurant that you will have to have mop buckets, cleaning supplies, and typically it's located in and around your dishwashing area, or where it makes sense in your design where you see a space that might not be utilized very well. So just keep that in mind, that you will need a space for those kind of ingredients. So again, when we talk about raw foods and the flow of those, it typically starts from the back door and storage. It goes to the pre-preparation area, the final prep, and then into service. So we will look at a pre-preparation area, which is where the majority of work happens. Typically, most restaurants have people come in early, 6, 7, 8 a.m., and they will spend a full 8-hour day just working with the food, chopping, dicing, portioning, breading, whatever it might be, and ensuring the product is ready to serve for your lunch and or dinner service. Now, you see here, this is a very small area as far as prep. It's 13 feet by about 17 feet, and they have some work surfaces, but not a lot. They have a multiple different amount of sinks. Now, important things to understand about sinks: some will be used for hand washing, which is probably this one. Some will be used for thawing. So a lot of times we need to thaw frozen product that comes in. They also have a bunch of different types of equipment here: mixers and food choppers and steam kettles and ovens and whatnot. Now, this is all very dependent on what your actual menu is. So when you create your menu, you might want to take a look at the menu and understand, how are my items being prepared? Let's ensure I have those pieces of equipment. If I have a lot of baked goods and breads and everything that I make in-house, having one oven is not going to be enough to cater to that menu. So a couple other things is that 30 to 36 inches high is general. 6 to 8 foot long tables, specifically if you can have middle tables where people can work from both sides. It's not represented in this picture, but it's actually a fantastic design option. So this here gives you a great idea of a full back of house area. So this back area here is for storage, and they have some storage back here, and this is your receiving spot. Now, as they come in, it's a very quick walk to bring your product into your walk-in fridge, your walk-in freezer, or onto these shelves here, which is your dry storage. From your prep area, which is the next spot the food will travel to, you have a very quick access again to your walk-in fridge and freezer and into your dry storage area. And again, we are looking for those traffic collision patterns, those traffic flow issues where congestion may happen. Further below is the hot food production. So what they do here is that most of your cooks will be on this particular line, although there could be a couple over here, and they are producing food and plating it and putting it onto these tables. And where from here, I imagine it would be your chef or your expediter will be checking these plates, making sure they're good, and putting them up underneath this heat lamp. Now, this is basically where all of your cooks and chefs hang out in, and they shouldn't really cross this little area here. Same thing with service staff. So service staff will come in these doors. They may have some options here and options here as far as pouring pops and washing their hands and getting cutlery and plates, and then they're picking up food. And then, sorry, I should say they're going to come in these doors by the dishwasher with their hands typically full of dirty dishes, drop them off in the dishwashing area, round this corner, pick up hot food on the way out, and leave. So this will be your outdoor, this will be your indoor, and that's kind of how this whole layout works. So a couple things you need to understand when it comes to your preparation areas, your hot and cold lines. Basically, it's the hub of the kitchen, and it's also one of the smallest parts of the kitchen. So the equipment and the layout is based on the size of the menu. So understanding that the row of equipment that you have that has those open heat elements must be under the hood fans, and typically it has that chef's table in front. So the workers would be working on one line, and as they finish, they will be turning around and plating essentially behind them. This is a basic commercial kitchen layout for a hot line. So you'll see all of the cooking options are on the back, which could be ovens, deep fryers, a grill, pasta cooker, and a lot of saute burners. So they cook and prepare everything here, and then they turn around and then they assemble it in different assembly stations. Now, all of these assembly stations are probably full of a bunch of different items. Obviously, for your appetizer and salad station, this will be full of sauces, dressings, and different ingredients such as different types of lettuce, as well as toppings, your tomatoes and onions and cucumbers and pickles and peppers and whatnot. And then same thing here, lots of plates will be stored below, and this is where they will plate, and these things will probably be a hot holding area, which will have all of your maybe cooked vegetables or potatoes or french fries or starches. Great thing about this particular layout that I love is that this is staff. They also show the staffing. So this is a 3-staff kitchen for normal business. So, you know, every lunch throughout the week, maybe except for the weekends, they might only need 3 staff, but they may go up to 7 staff based on high volume. So it's Saturday night, it's their busiest night, and they've actually broken down where the people are going to go. So it's a fantastic kind of layout of just the hotline portion of a restaurant. Again, and this is just another option. This is an L line where it's 2 different kind of areas. Gives you a little bit more room, but it is, again, a hotline as well, and you can see all of the different items that they have. When you create your actual layout, keep in mind that there might not be the appliance that you need. So what is a deep fryer? So if I'm in Visio and I'm trying to build a deep fryer, this is a square or a rectangle with a smaller rectangle inside it, and I've labeled it fryer. This is just another square inside this rectangle, and I've labeled it range and oven. So you don't need the exact piece of equipment to show that piece of equipment. Excuse me. A simple shape, designating that space for that particular piece of equipment with a label will suffice. Now this is, again, a hotline. Now this is what we call an open kitchen. So you can see to the left and at the very end of it, that they are showing the dining room. Now this is obviously something that's trending. People love the idea of the cleanliness of this. They like to see their food prepared because cooking is an art form. And this is dinner in a show, essentially. Now the negative thing about this is that you must maintain its cleanliness for people to enjoy it, which makes it's both good and bad. Your server or your kitchen staff will have to spend more hours cleaning it, but it's bad because you'll have to pay them more hours to make sure it's nice and clean. So anyways, it gives you a great idea of what a line may look like. I put this in here more. This is more of a showcase line. So this is what you might look like in a educational facility, or you're doing cooking lessons as couples. But again, this still has the breakdown of all the different items that you might need. So food assembly and serving. So there may be several areas throughout your kitchen and dining room that this happens. And we have to think about not just your standard restaurants, but also what is a cafeteria? How about room service or banquet service? These are food serving operations, and we are in menu and facility design. So not everything is your sit-down restaurant, although that is what we focus on. So the layout for these do have different requirements. Some of you I know are making coffee shops and bakeries and things of that nature, which will change your layout. You might not have those grills and deep fryers. So what will you have back there? So as far as layout is concerned, it's based on the products that you have to serve. And cold food assembly should always come first, hot food last. Now this is when we're talking about buffet lines. Hot food assembly area is located the closest to the preparation area. A, so we don't have to move too far. B, so we don't lose the heat, and we can get it out quicker. Nutrition food first in a self-assembly system as well. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is a cafeteria, an employee cafeteria breakdown. Now, something you need to understand as well is that while we may be in food and beverage, and while you may have a job in food and beverage, it does not necessarily mean that it will be in a commercial service. Now, much of this course we talked about non-commercial services, which are industrial settings that have food services, prisons, military, educational facilities, and you make very good money the same way you can make great money in commercial services doing a similar job. So if I am running an employee cafeteria at a car manufacturing plant, I still make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, ensuring that my systems run properly. So here you'll see an employee cafeteria as they enter. They will go through, it looks like they walk straight through, they grab their soups, hot entrees, desserts, come back, get their beverage, and then they leave through the cashier system. Or they may even come in through here, which would make probably more sense, grab their soups, hot entrees, desserts, wrap around for beverages, and then leave through the cashier system as well. I automatically, through this, I do spot a couple congestion issues, but you know, some proper signage and an arrow on the floor or two, and you'd be completely fine. And then this is another layout of a basic buffet with dessert. So you're starting with your plate, continuing with salads and dressings, main course, side dishes, bread, dessert, and cutlery and napkins. Now, simple things like this that are often forgotten about when we actually get into the industry. So if you offer your cutlery and napkins first, they typically go on top of the plate. And what you have now done is either they have to hold them in their hand or they put them on their plate. Either way, it's going to be a bit of an issue logistically, because either they're not going to have the extra hand to plate food onto their plate, or they're not going to have the plate room because those are on there. So you always offer the cutlery and napkins last, and typically dessert goes on its own table, or you clear the original buffet table and then relay out your dessert. Now, when we looked at those assembly stations, I just want to give you an idea of the different amount of flexibility that you have. So if you have ever worked in a kitchen, pan layouts is essential. So we talk about efficiency, we talk about ensuring you have all the ingredients close by so you don't need to run to the back or to a kitchen or to dry storage. And these are just some of the ways that your standard pan layout, your 12 inches by 20 inches can be set up. Now, depending if you're a salad station, if you're a sauté station, if you're a pizza station, you might have different layouts. So if you're a pizza station, obviously you're going to have lots of cheese and lots of sauce. So you would probably choose one of these full size or two half size with those two ingredients. And then smaller options if for your mushrooms and anchovies and green peppers and olives and things of that nature. So setting up those pan layouts will actually save you time, will increase the speed of how you're able to prepare food, and as well as lower labor. So it brings us now to our ware washing, so our dishwasher. Many of you have maybe been a dishwasher. My first job in a restaurant was a dishwasher for a year, and then I moved to working the fryers, and I was in a kitchen for about 3 years before I ended up moving to the front of house. And I loved my time in the kitchen. I thought it was fantastic. Now, dishwashers are very hard to find. They're even harder to keep, and if you find a good one, you pay them well and you treat their area with respect. When it comes to ware washing, there's a bunch of different components that we need because it is the sanitizing station of our entire restaurant. So it usually includes the dishes, silverware, glassware, trays, cooking utensils, pots and pans, etc. Sometimes glassware will go up to the bar. I think it should, or will at the very least have its own separate washing machine. By law, we do need a 3-compartment sink. So ensure that you have in your layouts 3 different compartments or 3 different sinks beside each other. And this is for the soak, wash, rinse, and sanitize options. Now, our standard dishwashers do those exactly. But we need the 3 sink compartments for if they do break down, how do we maintain that cleanliness, maintain those sanitation standards. Making sure it's well lit, ventilated, easily cleaned, and noise and moisture controlled will help your staff and will also maintain it's a safe spot. And it should not interfere with the service of food or be closely located to any entrance. It is a loud area and it is a wet area. So you don't want a lot of people walking through there, and you don't want your doors opening to your dining room and you can hear the clanking of dishes or silverware. Typically you need lots of table space, and I'll show you a great diagram showing that. At least 60% for soiled and then 40% for clean, and glass dishwashers are a great option if you have them. Hose and nozzle systems are common. They're not great for water, but they are common as you pre-rinse much of your stuff. And then also rack storage is very important as well. So let's take a look here. So this here is your basic functional ware washing area. Now there's a bunch of different types of machines. This is a 2-tank dish machine. This is the soil dish table here and the silver soak sink. So as the restaurant servers would come up, they would take all of their plates, they would put them here, and then they would also put their silverware right through here. As a dishwasher around here, this is your disposal system. So basically you're scraping all the plates into this, which it'll churn it up and dispose it for you, compost it. You're going to run your dishes through the machine and come up clean. And then, of course, you have all of your different areas where you can store those clean things on these rolling racks. There's a bunch of different types of machines out there, single tank dishwasher, and conveyor ones. My last job at Casino-Rama, we had a flight type conveyor. Where'd my mouse go? This one here. It was over $100,000 and had 2 different levels because it did both dishes and glasses in 2 separate compartments. So when you think about spending $100,000, you would imagine it wouldn't be on a dishwasher. But they do exist and they can be lifesavers. So this is a more 3D view of a warewashing station. And again, it gives you an idea of how the layout should look. Now this is a nice big open area. It's noise and moisture controlled. All these walls are going to be waterproof and very easily washed. They have a single tank, and it's not a conveyor. It's rather they put one of these trays in and just lock it down. There's your sink with your spray nozzle, and then this is your soil table where all of your servers put all of the dirty dishes as well as cups and glassware. And lots of room for clean here, as well as these, which they would roll back out to where they put them back. Great thing about this particular one, they have the 3-sink system here, as well as their mop bucket area with all of their cleaners. This is really the epitome of a fantastic warewashing area, and it's something that you should not think of secondary when you think of a kitchen. Most people focus on how do you cook the food, but they don't think about how you sanitize the plateware as much. And just some images of those different styles, conveyors versus non-conveyors and flights. And the last couple things is just the supporting services. So this is employee washrooms, offices, janitorial closets. I'll let you read through this particular one on your own, but ensuring that you have plenty of sinks that are located around. So a food preparation sink cannot be a hand washing sink. So that's something that I will ask in your final assignment as well as your final assignment. I'm going to ask you to ensure that you have food preparation ones so I can wash different vegetables, but I can also wash my hands, and they shouldn't be in the same area. And a few other things. So here we have outside, which I'll show you for the next assignment how you can create some items outside. Areas for cooking oil, areas for garbage that make it look nice and clean, as well as some ideas as far as the design. So here you can see that we have these lovely washrooms. Back here is the kitchen. This is for a drive-through restaurant that also has an indoor seating area and a patio. And then we've kept all of our garbage and all of our recycling and empties and everything nice and secure and out of sight in the back area. So part of your final assignment will be also looking at those back areas. What does it look like? What kind of components do I need out there? Not just inside the walls as much. So that's going to be it for this particular lesson. Please go through the PowerPoint a little bit more slowly if you'd like. I just wanted to briefly introduce you on it. I know about 30 minutes per lesson is kind of pushing it. We will have another class on Tuesday or Wednesday. I will most likely pre-record the assignment instructions, and then as well as give you as many opportunities for you to access Visio as you need. What else? I hope you're all doing well. This is the second last class of material that we'll be covering. Next week we're going to be covering branding packages and how do you complete the assignment, kind of bringing it all together. So there is also a bonus 5% assignment next week where I ask you to design something totally unrelated to restaurants, but still using that particular Visio program. It's a free 5% if you can do a pretty good job of it. And then it's test time and then final assignment due. So we're almost wrapping up. Good job, everyone, for sticking with it. I look forward to seeing you soon. And of course, as always, email me if you have any questions.